lover badasses. Fat Samurai Guy here with Lady Fat Blood. And today on our horror reviews, we are going to review Late Phases, Night of the Lone Wolf. Here's a quick plot synopsis. When deadly beasts attack from the forests, it is up to a grizzled veteran to uncover what the residents of a secluded retirement community are hiding. Now we're going to give you the good, we're going to give you the bad, we're going to give you the badass. First up, the good.
It is that time of year again. The temporary Halloween shops are open, and you know what that means. Slutty costumes and really, really shitty wigs. And if I can't take advantage of the slutty costumes, by God, I'm going to take advantage of the worst wigs you could possibly find. But it is also that time of the year. Hey, you're fucking up my shit.
Sorry.
It is also that time of the year where we look to the indie gods to give us a decent freaking horror flick. And I am glad to say that we have a decent freaking horror flick in Late Phases. We're once again given a pretty low budget film. It says low budget, but you know, they do the best with what they've got. And what we really, the real focus point is, yes, this is a werewolf film, but we are given the most likable curmudgeon in the character called Ambrose, played by Nick DeMisi, who we later found out was in the movie Stakeland, which was probably one of the recent vampire movies that I forgot to mention in our What We Do in the Shadows review, of actually being a really tolerable vampire film, even though the vampires were a little bit more like zombies, but that's a different story. This guy, likable curmudgeon, I've never seen a character like this. He is a crotchety old ass, but damn it, he's likable. And he carries this movie completely. He is the reason to watch the movie. You're not going to get too much of anything that you haven't seen before. He moves into this kind of retirement village, it seems like. It's nothing but elderly people. And a lot of weird shit starts to go down, and he slowly starts to piece together something that nobody else has really seemed to recognize or care to acknowledge, in that every 30 days, things start to go really badly and people start to die. Things start to die. Pets and dogs, the dogs especially, are always getting offed in some terrible fashion. And that's basically the plot of the story, is him trying to basically prepare himself for the next full moon and the next attack.
Now for the bad. Okay, so, usually with creature features, the creature could make or break the film. I mean, as awesome as Predator was, one of my favorite movies of all time, maybe the movie could have not been as effective if we did not have Stan Winston involved, and we had Van Damme inside a really bad generic alien rubber suit running around killing Arnold and friends.
Same thing could have been saved for the film Alien.
Yes, but we have to warn you, okay, with this movie, okay, the werewolf creature effects are not great, okay? They, with their low budget, okay, did a pretty good job of keeping the werewolves in shadow, some close cuts, but then eventually you will see them, and you're either going to laugh hysterically, or you're going to be like us and be like, oh, that's not that bad. Or you might like it, but we just want to warn you, because of the low budget of this film, the werewolf effects are not bad, but this should not detract you from a pretty solid film.
Yeah, they're not the worst I have ever seen. They're not that great, though.
Yes.
They're, like I said, this is low-budget heaven! And in low-budget heaven, you get people doing the best they possibly can. Yeah. And yes, the werewolves, they look a little hobgoblinish. They look a little gizmo-ish.
Almost bats. Bat-like.
Just a little bit. They look a little goofy. And, you know, only towards the end do you really see them a lot more.
Yeah.
When you first see them, they try to do quick cuts and just try to keep them out of sight as much as they can. To their credit, though, now, you know, a lot of people, they come to see a werewolf film for the transformation sequence. And this movie has a transformation sequence. Now, again, they were so low budget, but what they did do really well was they made the best of it. And they had to get really creative with the transformation sequence. And I think with how they had to do it, I thought they did a pretty damn good job.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you can forgive a film's low-budget nature and forgive the creature effects, and just remember you're really watching it for the Ambrose character.
Yes.
You might be okay with this. Some people have complained that this is touted as a horror comedy. I didn't find this movie that comedic.
There were moments because of the curmudgeon.
Yeah, there were a couple of scenes
Yeah.
here and there where the guy was legitimately funny, where Ambrose was
Right.
funny. But I didn't really consider this a horror comedy. It was more like a suspense.
No, it was suspense.
Yeah, a bit of a suspense horror.
Yeah.
So I don't feel that there was a tonal problem. I don't feel that, you know, I read one reviewer saying that the director didn't know what kind of film he had. I think he knew exactly what he had. I didn't get the impression that he was trying to pull something off that he couldn't. So I personally didn't have... I could see how some people might.
No, it was pretty serious. It kind of reminded me a little bit of maybe a little bit more badass version of Stephen King's Silver Bullet film starring Gary Busey. It kind of had that vibe, you know, very similar, which I recommend you watch. It's another pretty decent werewolf movie. But no, I mean, we just wanted to throw out another shout out to you guys that they did. There is some effort put into this movie. There's some effort. So don't hate on it too much when you see the werewolves, okay?
Yeah.
And now for the badass. The freaking Ambrose character, man. Dude. Not since Zatoichi, the blind swordsman, have we had a character similar who's really badass. I mean, you don't want to mess with this old man.
No.
You do not want to mess with this old man.
He uses a shovel for a cane.
Yeah, there. I mean, this guy, I mean, he was just great in this movie. He really was the badass in here.
No, he crushed the role.
Yeah, he crushed it. And there's actually some pretty good gore effects.
Yeah. Overall, I really enjoyed how they showed us how smart he was and how he could hear things and how he was just, you know, trying to piece things together here and there and trying to figure out, you know, he had a couple of red herrings here and there, and you know, he was always trying to figure everything out, and that was really fun watching him do that. You know, again, yeah, the effects are a little doofy, but this movie does not look like an asylum film. This does not look like a cheap piece of garbage.
No.
The supporting cast was really great. It was really fun seeing old man Lance Guest and
The Last Starfighter.
older man Tom Noonan. Tom Noonan, I love this guy. He's a great character actor,
Oh, yeah.
and I feel like I don't get to see him in enough. So it was really great seeing those guys, and they brought their A games, of course. You know, really good supporting cast, really nice story. You know, not everyone's gonna dig it. Nobody's gonna be pleased with every film. That's just the way life is. There's too many of us to all have the same opinion. We don't all need the same opinion. That's fine. But just, you know, if your interest is piqued, just keep in mind it's low budget, but you're gonna get a good performance out of it. Several good performances.
Yeah, and we highly recommend it to werewolf movie lovers. I think this is a must-watch. Probably the best werewolf film I've seen in a long time. So we give Late Faces 3.9 out of 5 chainsaws. Alright, that's it for today's horror review. If you've seen this film, and if you liked it, or if you didn't like it, let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And we'll see you next time with our next review of Housebound. See you next time. Now we're gonna give you the big, big, the fat, and the hairy.
Came right the fuck out of nowhere.
All right. Now we're gonna give you the big. We're gonna give you the bad. Fuck! What the fuck? Big. Shit.